G'day, welcome to the first episode of the Fantasy Farmers podcast. I'll be one of your hosts, Cahill.
I'll be your other co-host, Taff. We look forward to getting into it with you.
Perfect. So we're looking at NFL fantasy. We've both been playing for a few years now, and we're very keen to pass on our experience to you guys, the viewer, and just have a chin wag while we're at it. So we'll get into it. We're starting with this week. We're going to be looking at your first 2 to 3 rounds, the make or break picks of redraft fantasy. So we'll be looking at who's our consensus 101, the top pick at each position, and our good values we like in the second and third rounds, plus a little bit of an overall strategy for your first 3 rounds. So without further ado, we'll move into what we think our 101 pick is. Taff?
Like Kay was saying, we'll just go through it all. So I've got, it's pretty safe, pretty boring, almost 101, but I've got Jamar Chase. I think we both do. He's not a very flashy sort of pick, but he's an excellent wide receiver. He's one of the best. I think he's easily a top 3 behind. I think the only receiver you could sort of put him behind is Jefferson, but even then, there's sort of an argument to be made that he is the number 1. He's playing on a team that they're always going to be behind with that defense. You've got Hendrickson. Yeah, so you've got that debacle. So the defense is almost going to be worse than it was last season. It's a team that I don't really see making playoffs, so they're just going to have to throw the ball flat out. So he's going to have the volume. I think he's the consensus 101.
Yeah. As you said, I do have him as the 101 as well. I had him in a few leagues last year, and he's one of my favourite players. Agree that the defense hasn't gotten any better. Did you actually see that they took a defensive player in the first round and he still hasn't signed his contract yet?
Shamar Stewart, hasn't signed. I didn't really rate him as a signing anyway, but it sort of just shows what an organisation it is. Like, they're throwing too much money into 3 different players without sort of trying to divvy up the money, I suppose.
Yeah, correct. So there's our 101. Now, moving on from there, quarterback. Who's your 101, Taff?
For the 101, I've got Josh Allen. You look at his previous performances. He hasn't finished outside the top 3 in the last 5-6 years, I don't think. It's at least the last 4 years. He's an elite quarterback. I think to be a QB1 now, you need to have you need to be able to throw the ball and you need to be able to run the ball. That's just a necessity these days. So that sort of narrows it down to a few players. You've got Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, Lamar. I think they will be the top 3, but I think Josh Allen has the edge, especially with the Bills' schedule this season. They're the only team projected to win all of their games. And I think
really? I didn't know that.
The only team to projected to win every single game. But I think with his running ability, I think he's going to do it.
Yeah, good. And I'm actually a little bit different. I've gone Lamar. So the reason I'm going Lamar is basically all the same things you just said for Alan Taff. But Alan, I value the receivers Lamar's got a bit better. And I think we saw Henry come out of the gates really strong last year, but he tailed off towards the end of the year. I think they might manage his workload a little bit more, which for me means Lamar's going to have to pass a bit more and maybe rush a little bit more himself to help Henry get through to the end so they can use his explosive running closer to the playoffs. So that's why I think Lamar over Allen, and Allen's already been up there, like you said, 5 to 6 years. Mm-hmm. It's almost unheard of to keep that production, that amount of running up there. I still think he's in the top 3 to 4, but I think he's maybe not the number 1 this year.
I do like what you said about Lamar. I think the only reason I don't have him as the number 1 is he has a way tougher schedule, and he's in arguably the toughest division, having to play the Steelers twice.
Could you say, though, having a tough schedule means you do have to throw a little bit more?
Yeah.
But maybe there's less touchdowns,
Yeah, I think less touchdowns is what
can go either way.
The killer there.
Especially if you pay in 6-point passing touchdown leagues versus 4, that could make or break the difference between the two. So now we want to have a smoky. So who's your smoky quarterback?
I got Justin Fields as my smoky. he's another player that has that rushing ability. He's on a new team. I think he's going to get a fresh new start. I think he's very undervalued at the minute. I think he has the potential. Again, I'm not going to throw all my chips on Justin Fields, but I think with that the running volume, the running game, passing game, I think he has a good chance at his value as well. I think he's a good pick.
Yeah, I could potentially see that. My Smokey to go away from the running quarterbacks is actually Burrow, very much linked to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and that terrible defense. I think what he did last year was unbelievable, and if everyone can stay healthy there on their offense, I can see them putting up the same, if not more, passing touchdowns because they're going to have to if they want to make the playoffs. They made a strong push the last half of last year, and the numbers were off the charts. So I think if they do that for the whole season, I think Burrow could be a smoky quarterback one. But I do have him ranked below the rushing quarterbacks. But if a passing guy's going to do it, for me, it's going to be Burrow.
That's fair. All right, what are we looking at next?
Yeah, so now we're on to our wide receivers. So I might jump the gun here. So I do have Chase, obviously. He's my 101 pick. I've got a question for you coming up after this. But yeah, all the same reasons you said before. I've got Burrow as my smoky. I think it's going to be a control C, control V for next year for what happened this year. And I'm not quite sure if I see anyone getting close. And I think the numbers could even go up slightly with the defense not going anywhere. And yeah, but my question to you is, you had Chase as your 101, but as you're about to get into, you've got someone else as your potential wide receiver one.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit superstitious. I think the Madden curse is real, and I don't think players are going to repeat. I think, Chase is the 101. I think he's a consensus 101. I think he's a safe pick. I think he's very safe, but I don't think he's going to repeat as a wide receiver one. The last person to do it was Antonio Brown.
That's a good point.
That was 2016. No one's done it since. I think he will have the volume. I think he's definitely got the quarterback to do it. I think it's just a superstition thing. I can't see him doing it. I think, and then there's the argument as well. I don't like with T. Higgins there. Is he going to lose volume? Because again, they're both great wide receivers. They're both going to demand targets. Will Joe Burrow be enough to give them both enough to make them both wide receiver ones, especially Jamar Chase, the wide receiver one? I just don't see it happening. I think to qualify for a wide receiver one, you need volume, you need the talent to produce on that volume, and you need a solid quarterback. And then on top of that, you need to be playing on a team where they're going to be throwing a lot. So Chase does fit in that category, but I think there's a couple other players that also do fit in that category, and I think the one that will do it will be the wide receiver one is Malik Neighbors. He's going to be playing on the Giants. He's there. I think they're going to be playing from behind a fair bit, especially if Jameis Winston comes in. I think Russell Wilson is pretty much confirmed now as the starting quarterback, but it's not unrealistic to say there is a world where Jameis Winston does come in, and the minute Jameis Winston is throwing the ball, Malik Neighbors through the roof. We've seen what he did with Elijah Moore, with Cedric Tillman, with Njoku,
Jerry Jeudy. Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy. He made them all viable fantasy options. Imagine what he could do with Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors is in the perfect position to be the wide receiver one.
In general, for Neighbors, you could say that even with Jackson Dart as well, the new rookie coming in, you could say he has three quarterbacks that are better than any of his quarterbacks he played with last year.
Yeah, definitely.
So any option could be a good option. My smoky, he's not quite a smoky because he's been top five the last few years. But for me, I think if anyone's going to rival Chase, it is Puka. I think very similar. I think Devontae helps him. I think Higgins helps Chase. Devontae will be that down the field stretching wide receiver, and you have to respect Adams. So, and Puka is that gadgety player underneath. That'll just, I think I can see him getting nearly 12 targets a game in that offense because they're the only two options. Terrence Ferguson as the rookie tight end, I don't see him getting much volume, and then your Tutu Atwell, I don't think there's many other options other than Puka and Adams. I see both of them combining for close to 20 targets a game in an offense that does like to throw, or rush with Kyron Williams. They're essentially the only three guys in that offense that will score you regular fantasy points.
Yeah, I do like that call. Puka, I 100% agree with everything there. He was actually what I was sort of tossing up with Malik Neighbours or Puka, just given that he's going to have that volume as well. He's going to be playing with a good quarterback. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to take targets away from him. I think he's just going to take defenders away from him. I couldn't agree more with that one.
Yeah, it's good. We're in agreement. So now we're into a small break in the podcast for a beer review. Now, what do you have there?
So for my lovely beer, I've got a Great Northern Super Crisp. If you're an Aussie, you probably already know what it tastes like. It's pretty good, pretty solid. Tastes like beer.
Out of 7 Tom Brady Super Bowl rings, what would you give it?
Out of 7 Tom Brady Super Bowl rings, I'll probably say it's not a 7 because it's not the best, but I think it's a solid 5. 5 Tom Brady Super Bowl rings out of 7.
Yeah. And for me, I've gone with the better beer, Midi. Again, another Australian brand. That is very smooth, very easy to drink. I'm probably going to give it a 4 though, because it does the Midi does like a little bit of cutting edge. But if you would like to get on our podcast, you can have your beer here, and we can do a lovely review for you, and get our audience drinking your beer.
Right.
Now, moving on to the running backs.
Back into it.
Who is your RB1 at this moment?
This one was a tough one. Again, I think I'm superstitious. I believe in the Madden curse. Unfortunately, I really hope it doesn't happen. But initial thoughts are Saquon Barkley. He's a generational talent. He's behind an awesome O-line. If anyone's going to break that Madden curse, it's him, because he's just the best at the minute. I think he is the number one. Outside of fantasy, he's just the best running back in the league, hands down, no questions asked. But I think for my RB1 this season, I think it's going to be CMC. I think he's had plenty of time now to recover from the Achilles tendonitis. We've seen what he can do in the past without injuries. I think he's going to be the number one. You look at the 49ers schedule. They've got one of the easiest schedules for any NFL teams in the league. I think they're going to run the ball a lot, just given that a lot of their playmakers are gone. You've got Debo, who's gone, Ayuk, who's still coming back from the ACL injury, and then who else are they relying on? They're relying on George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, and then even Ricky Pearsall's picked up a hamstring niggle as well. Yeah. So I think CMC will be the RB1. But yeah, who do you think?
Yeah, can't argue with that. But mine's probably a little bit more vanilla in line with consensus. It is Bijan. I see the offense being a bit better under Penix this year. After the last couple of games the rookie started last year, at the end of last year. I think the offense struggled around Kirk Cousins last year with just being a bit of a statue, not able to move. And then I think that put Bijan under a bit of pressure, and then obviously you got Algier with him as well. I think Algier takes a back seat this year, and I could even see him getting traded mid-year to another team that potentially needs help at the RB1 position, because I think he is good enough to be that at least a 1B in a situation. But I see Bijan getting unbelievable volume in that offense, and I think he'll lead the league in touches this year.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can hate that pick. I think it's a good one.
Very safe.
Yeah. Again, generational. He is very good. But Smokey, who have you got as your Smokey?
My Smokey. Now, I would say it's very smoky, so maybe you want to cover your mouth with how much smoke you're going to intake here. It's the rookie Hampton for the Chargers. I think I like all the rookie running backs this year. One of the best running back classes they've said for a very long time, and I'm all aboard Hampton. 1, great quarterback Herbert. 2, an offense that wants to run the ball. And 3, Najee Harris is I think he's a good plotter, but he's just not a line breaker. And from the small clips I've seen of Hampton coming out of college and the what the experts say, he looks like, I think by week 4 or 5, maybe he's splitting 50-50 with Harris. I think after that he overtakes that offense in that offense, and I think with how good that offense is going to be, wanting to run the ball, I think the sky's the limit. Maybe RB1 is a push, but for me, I think he finishes in your top 5 or 6. And if he takes over that offense from day one, maybe he does push the RB1. Who's your Smokey?
That just on what you've said, I think this is an interesting one. This is one where I think we can go back to later on in the season and sort of say, okay, was it a good or bad take? Because I disagree completely.
Okay.
I think Hampton and Najee Harris are going to split carries basically the whole season. And I think Najee Harris, I think this is the season where he returns to form.
Okay.
I think he is a quality running back. I think they will run the ball a lot. And I think they're both going to split carries basically the entire season.
I smell a wager coming up. Maybe we'll discuss that in the next podcast.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is one where we'll definitely be coming back to and just sort of saying, okay, was this a good call or a bad call? And then someone else have to eat a little boot or something. But
I think it'll be you.
I don't know. I might smoke you that.
Smokey.
It's a very I don't know. It's a vanilla one, I suppose. But Devon Achane, I think he has a very good chance to be the RB1. Just given that after the Jonnu Smith trade, like I already really liked him because of the receiving game. We've seen what he can do with volume, running the ball. The receptions are just going to go up. He's just going to have more targets this year with Jonnu Smith getting traded. Tyreek Hill, I don't know if he returns or not, but I think, Devon Achane, he has a very, very good chance in PPR leagues at the minimum. Has an awesome chance. And I think with him going in the second round, he's an absolute steal. I think he should be.
He's fallen to the second round.
He's fallen to the second round. I think he should be a first round pick.
Darren Waller doesn't scare you?
Not at all. I can't believe they picked up Darren Waller.
Yeah.
It is just.
There was a shock when I saw the notification on my phone.
Yeah. Of all the tight ends they could have gone and grabbed, you had the Michael Mayers of the world, the Kyle Pitts of the world.
Michael Mayer would have been a good pick, I think.
Yeah. Good. But they went and grabbed Darren Waller because I guess his rap career didn't do too well.
We'll save that for our music podcast.
Yeah.
And speaking of Waller, good transition actually. Our tight ends. So I think for me, obviously, pretty vanilla as well. I've got Bowers, but honestly, I don't think it matters too much. And I think in the offense, with Genty there now, the new coaching staff around, maybe he doesn't get the volume like he did last year. But for me, Bowers is nearly a wide receiver, so I still think he'll be the tight end one, and he should still get enough volume to be that tight end one.
Again, I agree. Tight end is just insanely hard to predict. I think Bowers will be the tight end one. Just going off of last season, he broke the rookie reception record from memory, not just for wide receivers or tight ends, just in general broke the rookie wide receiving receptions record. I think he'll be the number one again. But having said that, I don't like the idea of taking a tight end in the first 6-7 rounds.
I think agree.
With players like you got Njoku falling, every year there's a tight end that's gone undrafted that ends up finishing in the top 5. You had Tucker Kraft last year. We had Laporta. There's a lot of tight ends that go undrafted and then end up being very, very fantasy relevant. So I think Bowers will be number one, but I'm not drafting a tight end till late.
I'm not sure the gap to tight end 2, 3, 4 will be that drastic that taking a Bowers in probably the second round, I think he's going. Maybe even end of the first. I think it's a hefty price to pay.
Yeah, unless you're in a tight end premium league, which I do like the idea of, because it does bring relevance back to the tight end position. Where if you are in a premium league, you have to take either Bowers or Trey McBride. Yeah, they're the only ones I would sort of look at.
Yeah. And for me, I find it hard to pick a Smokey, but I thought this could be a little section where we have a bit of a laugh. If Pitts doesn't do it this year, is he just fully gone?
I think so. I think with Kyle Pitts, everyone sort of looked at Arthur Smith and sort of said like, okay, is his style of play the reason Kyle Pitts has sort of not been relevant? Is that the reason? And then he's gone to the Steelers. So and he still has, and Kyle Pitts still hasn't produced. So I think it's sort of getting to that point now where I think I wouldn't look at drafting Kyle Pitts. I think he's done, but I think this season will make or break.
I think looking at ADP, he's towards the later rounds, but yeah, I could be interested to give it one last fly with Penix under centre. But yeah, you mean the draft pick you have to pay for him now isn't as much as it used to be, so could be worth a go, but probably something I'll steer clear of.
No doubt there will be people in your leagues though just taking him way too high for namesake.
Yeah.
But don't be one of those people.
Yeah. And next we have to go to a break. We've got to hear from our sponsors, and we're back. So now we've gone through all the positions. We're up to, so obviously we both had Chase as our 101.
Yeah.
But something I wanted to say on that. So if you're in a league that you're able to trade your draft picks and you happen to get the 101, would you be looking to trade back, or are you happy to take the safety of Chase, even though you think he's not wide receiver one this year?
I'm trading back.
Trading back?
Yeah, obviously depending on what I'm going to get, but I'd be fighting to trade back. Although, having said that, you're at the 101, you can take whoever you like. There's no problem with taking someone above their ADP. I've done it in the past. There was a couple of years ago, I think it was Tyreek Hill, took a few picks way too early, and he ended up being an awesome sort of fantasy player for me.
That's a good point.
So I think if you do have the wide receiver, the 101, and if there is a Bijan, if there is a CeeDee Lamb, if there are any of those players where you're set on them, you want those players, you need to have those players on your team, I think just take them. Just take them early because they won't be there. Someone else might have the same idea at the 102 or the 103. Someone else might have that same idea ahead of you. So if you've got the opportunity, I guess take it.
Yeah.
But if I'm not in that sort of state of mind, I'm probably going to trade back.
Really good. So now, moving away from the first round, the second round, who's your number one value in your second round?
I touched on it a little bit with the RB Smokey. So I got Devon Achane. He's going at the 203, so he's early second rounder. I love the idea of maybe the end of the first round picking up an elite wide receiver and then having him as your running back, because then you've sort of covered two positions. You've got two players that could potentially finish as the number one in their respective positions. But I think it's Devon Achane with the targets he gets and what he can do with that volume. He's shown that he can be a monster. I think, he's a very, very good value. He should be a first-round pick, in my opinion. Don't be surprised if he is sort of taken at the end of the first, but if he is in the second round, you need to take Devon Achane. With Jonnu Smith gone, his targets are only going to go up. But who do you have as your best?
I like that pick, yeah. But for me, I've got London. At the moment, ADP has him at the 204. And very similar point to Bijan. I think Penix under centre is just going to be that bit better for the offense and allow someone like London. We saw, don't want to look too much into it, but week 18 last year where he got about 25 targets from Penix. I obviously don't think that's going to happen each week, but I can see him getting around the 10 mark quite comfortably. And even looking at his numbers from when Kirk was under centre, the targets were high, but the catches weren't there. So whether they were catchable targets, that might have been the gap stopping him from reaching your sort of top 5, top 6 wide receivers, which I think he can finish this year.
Yeah, I like it as well. I agree with everything you said there. There's nothing I can really sort of point out and disagree with.
Yeah. Again, moving on. So third rounder, my favourite value is my main man. I'm a Cardinals supporter, and I think Harrison. I think this is the year. This is why I don't have Bowers as my tight end 1. I have McBride as tight end 2 still, but I think Harrison will take a bigger chunk out of that offense. And I think, maybe not the 10 targets a game, but I can see him maybe around the 8 mark. And from his college highlights, he catches everything. So if Kyler puts it in the vicinity, he will catch it. The yards after the catch from listening to the experts seems to be the question. But if he's getting downfield and making them catches, if he does a few of them a game, that's all you need. And I think the touchdowns go up as well. And I think the offense should be better for Arizona this year. Who's your value?
This is an interesting one because this is one where I disagree again.
Yeah.
We haven't had many disagreements, but I think this is one I don't rate. At the third round, I think he's a very good wide receiver. I don't think this is the year where he takes off. I think it's still going to be maybe next year or the year after. I think with Trey McBride there, he's going to just demand a lot more targets. And then you got James Conner as well, who's going to be running the ball with Trey Benson. I think between those players and then Kyler Murray's obvious, he can run the ball as well. I think there's always going to be a limit on how many receptions, targets Marvin Harrison's going to have. I think he'd be better off in the fourth round. I don't rate his third round value, but I think in the fourth round I'd be happy. But from my third round, I've got Breece Hall. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, to be fair, he is the 310, so he is close to that fourth round value.
Yeah.
Just if it was start of the third round, maybe I'd question it a bit more, but towards the end, I like it.
Yeah, I think fourth round, I'd be happy. Third round, I'm a bit hesitant when you. Like I'm about to get into, you got players like Breece Hall going in the third round. He's going a couple picks early, 3-8, which I'm still surprised ADP wise. He's going 3-8. Just given that he's Breece Hall, he's when he's not injured and he has the volume, he is a beast. He's just a couple of years off finishing. I think he was in the top 5 running backs. There was a reason he was taken in the second round last season. I think the quarterback play definitely didn't help. The Jets in general just looked like absolute shambles last season. But Breece Hall towards the end of the third round, I think he is just a magic pick there. You got to take him.
So now I'm actually going to disagree with you. I would prefer him more in the fourth, like you said for Marv. I think with Fields, a running quarterback under center, historically running backs that rely on catches like a Breece Hall don't do too well. They don't get the receptions that they need. And there's been a lot of buzz about Braylon Allen, a prospect that was not bad last year, but probably underutilized. And I think he gets a little bit more work this year. But obviously the main thing is Fields taking a lot of the rushing volume. I just see him being starved of opportunity again.
Yeah, I like that. I think this is another one we can revisit halfway through the season and sort of say, okay, was it a good call, bad call?
Yeah, we'll try and agree on a higher or lower.
Yeah.
A few punishments coming up.
Yeah.
Now, to finish off the podcast, we're obviously gone through the first few rounds, so you can probably tell my 101, my round 2 favourite and round 3 favourite, all wide receivers. I'm very heavy in the wide receiver build this year because I like the value of all the rookie running backs mainly in your later rounds. So I'm happy to stock up on your top end wide receivers and then get a few rookie running backs towards the end of the draft. Yourself?
Me. So the way I'm going with this season is I love the hero RB strategy for this season. I think there's a pretty steep drop off in running backs after the first and second round. I think if you don't grab one in those 2 rounds, you're going to be at a big disadvantage. You got Bijan, you got Gibbs, and you got Achane, and you got CMC. That is, unless I'm forgetting someone, that is basically sort of it for the first 2 rounds, and then there's a big drop off where wide receivers, you got wide receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still in the third round. I know I don't rate him the third round pick, but he's still there in the third round. So I think you've got to take a running back, at least one, a hero RB, in the first or second round. I do not rate drafting tight ends unless you're in a tight end premium league.
Yeah, that we can agree on.
Yeah.
I think we
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.